Welcome to the short introduction to a process that we're going to use in our workshop on handling conflict with ease. So, you've registered for this workshop on conflict, and that makes me think that perhaps you've had some struggles with it. Perhaps you freeze when there's any sign of conflict. Perhaps your brain just goes into a complete shutdown. Maybe your mouth goes dry and you feel like you want to run away. Or perhaps you get the wildest palpitations and all you can think of is you have to get out of the situation. And on the other hand, some of you might feel completely calm, but you just really don't know how to handle it. You stumble over your words and you want to say things, but it seems to make it worse. So whether you feel a little bit of emotion or a lot, what I want to share with you today is a tool that will help you in any stressful situation from now on. My name is Liesel, and my speciality is supporting people, especially introverts, through emotional turmoil. Did you know that if you experience any of what I talked about above, the heart palpitations, feeling out of breath, tightness in the chest, butterflies in the stomach, feeling like you just want to run away, that actually what's been triggered is your fight or flight system. Now, there is a little part of your brain, it's called the amygdala. It's situated deep inside your brain, and that little part of your brain is continuously checking out for danger. If you have experienced conflict in the past and it felt unsafe to you, what your amygdala did is it stored that information and it said, next time I experience something even remotely similar, I'm going to warn this person who's my person and say, don't go there, stop, get out of the situation, this is not safe. So the amygdala is absolutely like the fight or flight little piece of your brain that says, get out of the situation, it's not safe, and it is actually trying to protect you. That's all it's trying to do. So when you experience those feelings of just wanting to run away, can't think, brain shuts down, it's actually the truth. So what happens when your amygdala sees this warning signal is it sends signals to your the rest of your body, and some hormones get secreted like cortisol and adrenaline and stuff. What that is trying to do for you is it brings blood flow to your arms and legs so that you can actually literally run away. And in the same process, what happens is the blood goes there, but it goes away from this part of your brain. We call it the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that makes decisions, thinks rationally, analyzes things, and thinks calmly and clearly so that you can take the best course of action. But now, because this part of your brain is not getting enough blood flow, you literally cannot think well. Now, it is absolutely not possible to reason with this part of your brain. It is not possible, even though you're an adult, to say to yourself, hang on, just stay calm, I've got this, I can handle it, I'm an adult, I'm not that little child anymore who was afraid of an angry dad, for instance. Rational reasoning logic, saying stay calm does not work to talk to this part of your brain. It simply doesn't work because it's more instinct, it's the limbic emotional brain that is just there to help you to help you stay safe and survive. So, here's what I want to talk to you about next is this tool that I call EFT, or emotional freedom techniques. So you may be very familiar with this technique. You may have used it for yourself a lot. You may, on the other hand, never have heard of it. You may go, right now, what is this thing? Or you may have heard of it from other people but just never actually had the chance to use it. What is so awesome about this technique is that it can help wherever you are on that spectrum. It can help us to get calm about anything so that we can think clearly and then take appropriate action. You see, when we deal with conflict, we need both. We need to be able to stay calm and rational so that our brain can think and take the appropriate action. But that appropriate action cannot come if we feel terrified and feel like we're just not in a safe environment and we need to get away from it. If your heart's beating like a train on a track, there is no chance for you to actually implement the techniques that Alison is going to take us through. So, We come to the tool that I want to share with you, and that called, like I mentioned, is EFT, stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. How did this come about? It was an engineer, actually, Stanford-trained engineer in the early 90s that put this technique together from a lot of studies and from some techniques that he had been working with that were pretty complicated to work with. And because he was an engineer and he wanted things to work simply and easily every time, and he wanted a predictable outcome to his process, he put this together and he called it EFT. His name was Gary Craig, and you may go onto the internet and go and read about the background and history of EFT. Point is, millions of people around the world are using EFT currently, and it has recently been endorsed formally to help US veterans with their PTSD symptoms. So it is a highly recognized and appropriate technique for this feeling that we're going to be dealing with in working with our trauma around conflict. So how does this work? In a nutshell, what we're going to do is to focus on the problem, which in our case may be the fear of conflict, just literally feeling that fear and all the body sensations that it brings about. And while we focus on that fear, what we're going to do is tap lightly with finger points, like 1 or 2 finger points, on certain stress relief points on the body that have been found to relieve this kind of stress, discomfort in the body. And I'm going to share this technique with you now because in our workshop together there's not going to be a lot of time to go through all of this, and I want to make the best use of our time possible in our 90 minutes together soon. So here's how this technique works, called EFT. We're going to identify exactly what is bothering us, and we're going to make a statement of that. Then we're going to measure on a simple scale of 0 to 10 how badly this is affecting us when we think about it now. So 0 is there's no stress when I think about it, and 10 is the worst stress I can possibly imagine when I think about my fear of conflict. Then we're going to tap on certain points, and I'm going to go through these points with you one by one in a moment. And then we're going to, after that round of tapping, we're going to take a deep breath in, release some of the stress, and then we're going to measure our level of discomfort again on the same 0 to 10 scale so that we can see if we're making progress or not. It's really quite simple. So let's start. First of all, I'm just going to show you where the points are on the body, and then we're going to do some rounds together. So here's what we're going to do first. We've got the side of the hand point, and that is where we're going to start tapping. You can do it like this with a flat hand. You can use any hand. It really doesn't matter. Just pick a hand. If you're right-handed, often people use the right hand to tap on the left. Doesn't matter which way around. And you're going to tap on the side of the hand while you state the problem, which may be, even though I'm really afraid of conflict. And we're going to couple it with a little state of affirmation, and we can do today, we're just going to say, even though I'm really afraid of conflict, I'm okay. So we're going to keep it simple. So we keep tapping lightly on the side of the hand while we say that statement. Now the next few points are on the body itself. The first point is right where your eyebrows start, so it's not in the middle, right there. It's where the eyebrow starts, and you can use either side or both at the same time. For just so that you can see my face, I'm just going to do one side at a time, but when we tap in our class, you can use both sides. So there's our first point, the eyebrow point. Then our next point is on the side of the eye, where the bank of the eye stops. The next point is under the eye, exactly also where the bone of the eye stops. So it's not on the cheek over there, it's there, right under the eye. Next point is under the nose, and all the time while we're going to tap these points, we're going to repeat the thing that is bothering us, so in other words, fear of conflict. So under the nose. Next one is in the hollow of the chin. The next point is on the collarbone. You know, we've got these two little bony protrusions just where next to where a man ties his tie. There's bony protrusions just underneath the two bony protrusions. There's like a little soft spot there between the bony thing and the first rib. Just slide your fingers in there. You can use a few fingers together and tap there. The next point is on the seam of the body. So you can't see me, but more or less where the lady's bra strap is, on the seam of the body. You tap there. We call it the underarm point. So tap there with, you can like with a flat hand. And then the last point we're going to tap is on top of the head. So there's many stress relief points crossing there. So you just can go in a little circle with a few fingers. So those are all the points. So I'm going to lead you now through one round of EFT. So I'm not going to explain a lot. Just follow me. So start saying what I say and do what I do. And in that process, you're going to learn this process called EFT. So first of all, check inside, and I want you to measure on a scale of 0 to 10 when you think of the word conflict, how much does your discomfort level go up? And I'm just going to take a guess and say it was a 6. So I want you to remember that number 6, or whatever your number was. You'll feel something in your body, and you can start thinking about, feels like I get palpitations, or I get butterflies in my stomach. Whatever that feeling is for you, just give it a number out of 10 and remember that number. And now we're going to start tapping on the side. So go on the side of the hand, start tapping and say, even though, and you can repeat in the spaces that I leave, I have this big fear of conflict. Your turn. I'm okay anyway. And we do this 3 times side of the hand. Even though I've got this big fear of conflict, I'm okay. And even though I do have this big fear of conflict, I'm okay. And now go to the point. So start on the eyebrow point and tap lightly with 2 hands while we just repeat the thing that is bothering us. This fear of conflict. Side of the eye. This fear of conflict. This fear of conflict. Under the nose. This fear of conflict. Hollow of the chin. This fear of conflict. Collarbone. This fear of conflict. Now under the arm and the seam of the body, this fear of conflict. And lastly, top of the head, this fear of conflict. Now I want you to take a nice deep breath in. Let it out like a nice little sigh. And then check again. If you think about your fear of conflict, does it still feel the same? If you think about it, mine was a 6 just now. Just check if it was a 6, if it's now a 6. And if you notice any changes in your body. Now we've only done one little round. So just if your number is shifted, just write that down or note it for yourself. And I'm just going to lead you only through one more round so you can get the practice again. In our workshop together, we're going to do loads of these rounds because it really is the most incredible tool that I know of to help us deal with any emotional discomfort. So I want you now for this round to notice anything in your body that feels uncomfortable. Where do you notice any discomfort? Could be a tight chest, shallow breathing, heart palpitations, maybe butterflies on the stomach, maybe a frown on your head. So just notice for you when you think about conflict and situations in the past, just let your mind go there sort of very briefly. Where in the body do you feel any discomfort? And just so that because I don't know what yours is, I'm going to just use the words even though that happens so that it's easy for us all to tap together. So follow me again and use the words if you want to that you come up with, and I'm going to use even though that happens. So start here and say, even though that happens when I think of conflict, right here, right now, I am okay. Even though that happens when I think of conflict, right here, now, I am okay. And even though that happens for me when I think of conflict, right now, I am safe. Good. And just tap on the eyebrow. That happens when I think of conflict. That happens when I think of conflict. That happens when I think of conflict. That does happen when I think of conflict. My body reacts when I think of conflict. I get all these sensations in my body when I think of conflict. under the arm. I get all these sensations in my body when I think of conflict. Top of the head. That happens when I do think of conflict. Now, take one more nice deep breath in. Nice sigh out. So, again, I didn't do the whole checking and so because I can't get interaction right now, but I hope you can get a sense of what we're going to do, and we're going to be using this tool a lot during our call together because it is one of, as I said already, it is the most effective self-help tool, and I want to empower you with something that you can go away and use for yourself. If this seems strange to you, of course, I do agree. It is absolutely strange. Like, how can tapping on some points on your body really make a difference? I invite you to keep an open mind, to just come and play with us. It is well researched. There is hundreds of scientific studies being brought out at the moment about this technique, and it can really help you. So come with an open mind. Let us work through the sphere of conflict together. I guarantee you that you will have amazing results combining working on the emotions together with the techniques, practical things that Alison is going to share with you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're very excited for our workshop. Have a most awesome day and see you soon.